So today our topic is sulfur for the IGCSE chemistry. Let's discuss from where you can get sulfur. Volcanoes are the major source of sulfur and its oxides. Whenever there is the eruption of volcanoes, lot of sulfur contents and even crude oil contains lot of sulfur. That particular smell in the oil is because of the sulfur. And when you extract the ores through mining process like copper pyrites and zinc blend, they are also containing a lot of sulfur. Even many vegetables also have sulfur in them. Most of the living things, many fossil fuels. So overall, if you talk about the major sources of the sulfur, how many sources you will say from where you can get sulfur?
2.
Number 1, volcanoes. Number 2, metal ores.
4.
Number 3, some purification processes. Number 4, living things. And number 5, fossil fuels. Many fossil fuels. What are the main examples of the fossil fuels? How many main types of fossil fuels are there? Coal, oil, and gas. And most of the oils, when they are purified, the sulfur is also released. It's a yellow, soft solid, non-metal, and this sulfur is industrially very useful, especially in the contact process. What is contact process? Previous day I also told you. Can you tell me?
To make.
For what it is used? Contact process is the industrial way to manufacture sulfuric acid. H2SO4 is when commercially manufactured. Name of the process is contact process. And if you do remember, I told you 3 conditions very important in this contact process. What was the pressure?
2 yeah.
2 to 3 atmospheric. And temperature?
450.
450 degrees Celsius. And catalyst?
Vanadium oxide.
Vanadium pentaoxide. This vanadium metal is a transition metal, and when it's oxide, pentaoxide is used as the catalyst. So there were essential 5 major steps. First, they change sulfur into sulfur dioxide. This process will be called as the formation of sulfur dioxide. When they will burn the sulfur with air which contains oxygen, sulfur will be changed into sulfur dioxide, and the actual name of the sulfur dioxide is sulfur 4 oxide, because in this dioxide form, this -4 is compensated with sulfur having valency of 4, because sulfur has variable valency. This variable valency of sulfur may have valency of 4, and sulfur may have valency of 6 also. How 6? If you talk about sulfur dioxide, each oxygen in the form of oxide, total -6, is equalized with the +6. So sulfur dioxide actual name is sulfur 4 oxide. Actual name of sulfur dioxide is sulfur 4 oxide, and actual name of sulfur dioxide is
sulfur 6 oxide.
6 oxide, because here the valency of sulfur is 6. So the very first step is to manufacture SO2 gas. Then when they are going to react again with the oxygen, this is a reversible reaction. Here all these three conditions are applied. Means when SO2 is going to be changed into SO3, pressure must be 2 to 3 atmosphere and temperature should be 450 degrees Celsius, and catalyst vanadium pentoxide should be used so that you could get maximum amount of sulfur trioxide. They convert the sulfur dioxide into sulfuric acid when react with water, though it's very explosive. Actually, what they do, they react the SO3 gas. In actual, they react this SO3 gas with concentrated pre-made sulfuric acid. They get oleum H2S2O7. This is oleum. When they add water in the oleum, they get the desired amount of H2SO4. So here we may say that uh, they are telling you that how to get the H2SO4, but the topic is sulfur, so it means sulfur is involved in the manufacturing of sulfuric acid. Sulfur will be obtained either from the crude oil or from any source. It will be purified and then sulfur will be burnt with the help of oxygen, changed into sulfur dioxide. Actually, in the second step, it is purified also. So mainly in actual, if we check the steps of formation of sulfuric acid, you will say these are the 5 steps. Number 1, formation of SO2 gas. Number 2, first they do its purification because that is impure. They do its purification by a method, and actually they pass the impurities through electrostatic dust precipitator. Electrostatic dust precipitators means these are actually two plates. One is positive and one is negative. When the SO2 gas is passed over it, it becomes, its impurities are actually getting charges. Some impurities become positively charged, some become negatively charged. So negative impurities rush towards the positive plate and positively charged impurities rush towards the negative plate. So SO2 gas becomes pure. So this is called the purification with the use of electrostatic dust precipitator. And in the third stage, they are going to manufacture sulfur trioxide. Here they apply 3 conditions, as this is the reversible reaction. To get the maximum amount of SO3 gas, they heat it at 450 degrees Celsius using vanadium pentoxide as the catalyst, and pressure is at least 2 atmosphere. After they get SO3 gas, they make oleum by reacting SO3 with pre-made concentrated H2SO4. They get oleum. Oleum is H2S2O7, and finally, when they add some water in the oleum, they get H2SO4. So, according to
Two H.
yeah, so 5. These major steps must be kept in mind when you are talking about the contact process. Contact process is the industrial way to manufacture H2SO4, sulfuric acid. But here, raw material, what you will say? The raw material for the contact process is sulfur and oxygen or air.
Oxygen gas.
Yeah. So name the use of sulfur in the manufacture of sulfuric acid. You will say sulfur is used to finally prepare the sulfuric acid, because sulfur first will be changed into sulfur dioxide, later in sulfur trioxide, and sulfur trioxide finally will give you sulfuric acid. Tell some other
How do you
results.
make the alum?
Yeah, oleum is actually to prevent from the blast.
I know.
Oleum was
Yeah.
actually H2S2O7. How it was made? When SO3 gas was reacted with pre-made small amount of concentrated H2SO4. These hydrogen are 2, here there are 2, sulfur this and that. These are total 2, so sulfur I have written 2. 3 plus 4 oxygen,
Yeah.
overall 7 oxygen. So in the oleum, when they add water, they get the desired amount of H2SO4. So sulfur is used to manufacture sulfuric acid, but sulfur is also used as a bleach to manufacture wood pulp, to bleach paper. If the paper has colors and you want to have the white paper, then they use sulfur dioxide to bleach this paper to remove the colors. And sulfur dioxide is also used as a food preservative in pickles, marmalades, jams, but it is in very small amount, like it may be in parts per million or even in parts per billion. Otherwise the product will become smelly. So these are its major uses of sulfur dioxide. Let's check the next. The question is, describe the properties and uses of dilute sulfuric acid and concentrated sulfuric acid. Because sulfuric acid is the strong acid, fully ionizes to release the protons. This strong acid, commercially it's very important. Most of the sulfuric acid is used in manufacturing of fertilizers, in car batteries, in dyes, pigments, drugs, detergents manufacturing, and refining. Other, most of the industries use it, even the rayon and so many. So actually, if you want to check the economy of any country, simply check how much this acid is going to be produced and utilized, because it is so much useful in many industries, in pickling, like to remove the rust from the metal surfaces. So if you check the properties of sulfuric acid, as it is strong acid, when you will add it in water, it will fully ionize. For example, H2SO4, when you are adding it in water, it will change into all the
Falling.
protons you will get with the formation of sulfate. So this release of proton shows that sulfuric acid is acidic and it is strong acid. It's good electrolyte used in car batteries also. So in the manufacturing of fertilizers, to manufacture many chemicals like nitric acid, hydrochloric acid, many salts, and many detergents, dyes, pigments, explosives, drugs, and when the petroleum products are going to be refined, and especially when they are refining the gasoline, they also use the sulfuric acid. And when they are going to process the metals to make them pure, they also use this one. And rayon is also made with the help of sulfuric acid, where it acts as the electrolyte, and it is also used in the car batteries. So we may say sulfuric acid has lot of important uses.
Uses.
Commercially, these uses are very important.